turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. Turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf.
What's good with the gods, family? How everybody doing today? I want to welcome everybody to a journey, not a destination, where we talk about the destination in totality. You know what I'm saying? Growth is motion. So if you're not moving, you're not grooving. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to whoever chooses to listen at whatever time, or good night. You know what I'm saying? This could be just something to go to sleep to. You know what I'm saying? Get your mind right, get it tight. You might hear a few profanities, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Life is life. Life be life. Anyways, but as y'all always know, man, we do a mental and emotional checkup. So starting off with my mental checkup from a scale of 1 to 10, I am about I'm a solid 8. You know what I mean? I'm a solid 8. You know what I'm saying? Mentally I've been really focused, trying to figure out this systems and schedules for myself so I can be better and be more consistent with how I give y'all this product and, how I give to myself for sure. My emotional capacity for today, right, from a scale of 1 to 10, it would be emotionally, I'm about a 9 today. I think I'm ready for the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, took care of what we had. We brought this weekend good because last week was great. We took care of everything we need to take care of. You know what I'm saying? Remember, it's a journey, not a destination. We may go week to week, day to day, but this week, emotionally, we high. We high. I'll take it anytime. Never want to go into the next week with low emotions. Promise you, it fucking sucks. Um, Normally I would have my co-host with me, but things happen and we're getting things right. You know what I mean? Shout out the squad. You feel me? You know what it is. But today episode, right, is talking about the middle of the journey, right? Where you're not done, but you're far from started. You know what I'm saying? But you kind of found a spot in there where, you're comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Or it's struggling and it's stressful, but you can handle it. You know what I mean? Sometimes the middle of the journey is all niggas can handle. So we gotta be careful with what we ask for. That job just might be just enough for you to be able to cruise control. You know what I'm saying? But in any cruise control, we only supposed to use it when we going long distance. You know what I'm saying? If you're going up the street, it wouldn't be wise to use cruise control. But anyways, I digress. uh I would say for me right now, right? The theme for today, right, is when growth and struggle coexist in the middle of the journey. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like I'm not hurting and I'm not down. I'm still not where I want to be, and shit is still hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know we make it look easy. We found different ways to deal with it and make it sound like we want the way we wanted to make it sound. But at the end of the day, it's still hard. Still a struggle to it. We're still figuring it out, but we're further away enough where we can handle our business and do our own shit, right? Uh, the focus for today, right, will be the messy middle of any transformation. The messy middle, the toxic parts that I used to love. Not gonna lie. I had a friend, right? That had just got out of a relationship and they finally got into a healthy, good relationship with themselves or with somebody else, whichever made for. And they told me, they said, "Hey, you know, Cam, I miss the toxic. I miss a little bit of drama in my life." And I was like, damn. It was like there's no excitement in life. There's no excitement in the relationship, and there's still drama. And it's like to be that accustomed to drama where it thrives you is diabolical. But I sort of understood it as I got older. It makes sense. But anyways, I digress, right? As always, right? I want to welcome you back, as always, to Journey Our Destination, right? Well, we talk about the parts of growth that nobody puts on a highlight reel. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting this up. You know what I mean? We deal with this when the phone is off. You know what I'm saying? But listen, today's episode is for everybody stuck in the middle, right? Not at the beginning anymore, not at the finish line yet, just somewhere in between, trying to keep your head up and your faith intact, right? The middle can feel confusing, frustrated, and honestly comfortable. But uh, also, the beginning, and also because the beginning is there's excitement, right? There's celebration in the middle. In the middle, there's doubt, exhaustion, and awkward moments where you ask yourself, did I really sign up for this? And still, the middle is where the building happens. And it's where change gets tested, patience gets stretched, and growth gets mother real. You feel me? Um, for me, I urge everybody to enjoy every part of the journey, right? We can't just enjoy when we can go out, when we can get drunk, you know what I'm saying? When we can, you know what I mean? Clap some cheeks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like you enjoying all the good sides of the journey. But when the shit hit the fan and get a little real for a couple weeks, maybe a couple months, maybe a couple years. You know what I'm saying? You don't enjoy that. And I think enjoying it helps you get out of the negative side and get you back to the positive side of enjoying the journey. It's when we take ourselves away from it and we don't really pay attention to, you know, we don't allow ourselves to embrace the mistakes that are going to happen that are ordained in every journey. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the middle, you can't really stress about people. You can't really stress about the time. You know what I mean? Right now, the middle is a space for you to enjoy where you come from and still respect where you're going. You know what I'm saying? So don't lose sight of the middle of the journey. You know what I'm saying? That's where magic happens. You know what I'm saying? That's where the magic is. That's where the breakthrough is because now you created systems and disciplines. We passed trying to figure it out. We got it now. But now we need to take it to another level. We got to escalate that thing. You know what I mean? Take it to the level it's supposed to be. So when that happens, you know what I mean? Now we got to be extra strategic. Now we got to be extra cautious. We got to care a little bit more about ourselves than others. You know what I'm saying? And as you know, man, in Journey Not Destination, we're gonna have 6 questions. Wait, six? No. We got 8 today. We got 8 questions today. We're gonna go through that. I want to tell you. I want you to tell me. I want you to listen and tell me what you think. Please like and share, subscribe, all the good stuff. And if these questions touch your soul, please leave it in the comments and maybe we can help you in the future. You know what I mean? The game is real. Some good food we got going on today for surely. So our first question for today is: what was the moment you realized that this journey would take longer than you expected? Um, when was the moment? Well, there's been a lot of moments, right? If you told me 7 years ago I will be here, I would tell you you bullshitting me. For sure, nigga, you're lying. There's no way. You know, I thought I would never leave California, but I did. You know what I mean? But the moment that helped me realize uh that this journey would take longer than I expected. Let's give that some thought, guys. Right? Let's really ponder on that, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's not just one moment. There's multiple moments, right? And some may have one pivotal that really changed their life. I would say for me, the moment that helped me realize that this would be longer than I expected was when I when I started understanding the business of things, the growth of things. That's what really let me know this is gonna be a little bit longer than I expected. When you sitting there studying the craft and you're learning a lot about this craft, but you only learning the part that you love. You're not learning the ugly sides. You know what I'm saying? So when I started going deeper into my craft and learning different things, about the business and those different things, now I start to realize, like, oh, this is why I take this much time to drop a song. This is why I have to wait this long to put this song out if I'm doing it the right way. Giving distro kid at least 3 to 4 weeks so they can really put the record in its right position. So when you do start to promote, it works in the way it needs to work. You know what I'm saying? That changed my perspective for me because there's good sides and bad sides to everything, right? And I do music. I love music. Music is life for me. So when I started doing music in a way that I wanted to take it serious, you know what I'm saying, on top of life, just lifing, you know what I'm saying? And I still gotta find all the ways to love what I'm doing and appreciate what I'm doing and allow myself to be able to still make music at a high level and still learn the business side, the other side that can be dangerous. You know what I mean? Like y'all got to be smart out there. All my artists, y'all got to be smart about, how y'all handle your business and who y'all work with, and making sure your paperwork is right. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't even talking marketing. We just saying everything before distribution. That's probably the most important part for any artist out there. If your shit right before distribution, it's gonna be a lot easier to claim what you need to claim. But if you don't, you allow somebody else to do your work. You allow somebody else to know more about the business and more about the music, so you can just focus on making music. And then 10 years later, you're still making pennies, and this person's making millions off of you. So that was probably one of the moments for me that really helped me realize that this journey was going to take longer than I expected. Because you know, as you grow in life, your likes and wants change, right? My likes and wants have changed from 24 to now. And, my uncle had told me, like, once you turn 27, everything you feel and think is going to change, right? So I'm like, man, whatever, nigga. I think he lying. I mean, immediately, as soon as I turned 27, I mean, I feel like I became an adult. It was like something in me changed. Things that I used to love, I didn't really like. They didn't have value. I started caring more about value and life and introspective things, and want to educate myself and want to have a life that I believe in. But that's what 27 do to you. um in closing though, another moment, right, that really helped me was when I moved to Atlanta. Atlanta has been a very interesting place for me. Never a dull moment, but uh when I got here, I realized that it's going to take a little bit longer to do what I'm trying to do. I got to build it first for them to come. I just can't come in. I'm in a place nobody know me. There's a bunch of wild shit going on. It's a bunch of crazy. It's a whole different world. You know what I mean? Networking is super key. You know what I mean? So um, you just gotta be smarter on that. That's definitely one thing. But we'll probably cut that out because I don't really like that. But anyways, moving on. Our next question, right? And right now, again, we are speaking on the messy middle of any transformation. All right. on all these questions, right? What was the hardest moment during the journey, and what kept you from quitting? Um, the hardest part of the journey was trying not to give up. I don't know. I would think I was raised in a very warrior like lifestyle as a kid, so quitting was never allowed of any kind. I'm talking about whether I remember one time, elementary, we was in class and the lady little girl played me. I appreciate. I fuck with you though, but I was mad that day. She gave me the paperwork. Right, she gave everybody had to give out homework. She passed out the homework, but she gave me majority of them, and I put them in my bag. But I didn't know at the time. So there were some people who didn't have homework. So the teacher's like, "Oh well, I guess people ain't got homework." I said, "Oh, okay, cool, that's what's up." But I was kind of mad because I had it. I had my homework. So I get home and I pull out my backpack to do my homework, and I lay it on the table, and all these papers of the same homework I got. So my mom looks at it, and I'm like, "Mom, nah, this is crazy. This ain't supposed to be the way it's supposed to be. Like I'm only supposed to have one." She said, "No, you're gonna do them all and take them to school tomorrow." And I sat there and did them all. Shout out to the homegirl. I don't know who she is, but I was very pissed at you. You made that day really hard. But to piggyback on me, that those were some of the things that enabled me to create this system of where quitting isn't an option. Now it may take a little longer to do some things that we normally do in a certain time, but I don't know how to quit. And sometimes that's a good thing, and a lot of times it has been a hindrance. It has been a threat to me for not being able to quit because there's some shit you should quit on, you know. But also, there's some things that you should let go that you don't know how to let go because you still view it in the lenses of quitting. I don't want to quit on something. I don't want to mess up the vibe and all this other bullshit, right? And we can't have that. That's not what we're looking for here. That's not the mindset we want to have when it comes to um healing and doing the right things for ourselves, right? Especially during this journey, right? Everybody's gonna have different spots in the journey where they need to where they need to be better, not just for themselves. It ain't for nobody else. You know what I'm saying? Um, and you can't. These have to be priority. These certain things have to be priority. We can't just quit on these because we want to. You know what I mean? We got to be super, super, super smart about it, and you gotta trust the process, man. You know, and you can't allow nothing to deter you from that position. The question again was, what were the hardest moments during the journey? For me, right, the hardest moments during the journey for me was trying not to quit, right? Um, living, being the bigger person, not just being it, living the bigger person. You know, thinking before I spoke. Making sure that every word count. You know what I'm saying? Every time that I did something, it mattered. Um, you know, life choices. You know what I mean? What kept me from quitting from all these different things, right? Was I do these affirmations with my daughter when we talk, right? And these affirmations, I've been doing with her since she was young, 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 young. So every time we talk, even if we're not able to speak in a way that is conducive, but when we do talk, we do these affirmations. She's 8 now, so I've probably been doing this with her since she was like 2, 3 years old. Once she could talk, we started doing these affirmations. And one day it came to the point that I had to start using these affirmations for myself. I had to start talking to myself the way I'm asking my daughter to talk to herself. And the way you talk to yourself during this process of the journey, especially when things get difficult, when things get a little tough, you want to be trustworthy of your heart and trustworthy of how you choose to speak to yourself. You know what I mean? Because I ain't gonna lie. They always say practice what you preach, but most of the best advice I've got came from niggas that didn't follow their own advice. But them niggas had some gems. You know what I'm saying? They had some gems, but it is what it is, and I try not to make quitting an option. You know what I'm saying? But those are some of the hardest moments in my journey as far as moving forward. Let me know what some of the hardest journeys, the hardest moments in your journey, even when it gets tough, like what are some of the things that don't allow you to quit? Of course, God for me as well, outside of, systems and things I created. But for you guys, let me know what helps you guys in your growth and your processing of all these different things in life, and what keeps you going. You know what I mean? Sometimes it could be the baby. You know what I mean? It could be Unc. You know what I mean? It could be mama. You know what I mean? Mama. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We never know. But what we do know is we must never quit. You know what I'm saying? Because the game is real. Listen, man, our next question for the day is: did you ever feel embarrassed about how slow your progress was? Um, I've never felt embarrassed, right? Um, but I did look at people did look at me differently because of it. You know, my progress was definitely slow. Took a long time to get here to be able to sit here and talk, communicate. I had these different things with y'all. You feel me? But I've never compared my progress. I think comparison is a thief of joy, and sometimes you got to learn how to just enjoy your process. You know what I mean? If you learn your process fast enough, you may be able to be faster than others. But if you're worried about who worried about what you worried about, you're gonna be stuck. You know what I'm saying? So we gotta be smart with the game and keep it distant. Um progress was My progress was never about being able to show people and glorify it. Like, I'm a very private person. I'm very peaceful. You know what I mean? I go to work, handle my business, enjoy life, different things, keep to myself and talk to the people I love and different things like that. So privacy is super important to me. So I don't really worry about who cares about my progress, you know what I'm saying? Or worry about who's progressing further than me. Like, if they bring it to me, I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? Congratulations, big dog. I see you. Get your game. Get it right. Get it tight. You know what I mean? Do your thing. Do what you got to do. But, I'm never like, oh, I feel away. I feel like he want to come show off and stun on me because he's telling me about his success. Never. We don't even breed them type of niggas over here. You know what I'm saying? We don't play them games. At the end of the day, I want to see people win with or without me. Now, in hopes that you feel that way, only God and you know. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I want to live and that's how I want to do it. You know what I mean? If I show you love, I'm showing you love because I genuinely care about what you're doing and you care about telling me. So we here. You know what I'm saying? But my progress, I was never embarrassed by my progress. I've impacted a lot of people unknowingly. A lot of people come and talk to me and ask me for advice on numerous things. So I don't look at it like, hey, I'm embarrassed because it took me this long to get here. Like, no, as long as I'm here, that's all that matters. As long as you get there, it don't matter how long it took to get there. Trust me, they not gonna remember that. What they gonna remember is when you hit the game winner. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You got the chip. You made it to the NBA. They're not gonna know all the tough stuff and all the hard things it took to get to that point. You feel me? So stay on your game, man. You know what the game is. Listen, our next question, right, for the day is: what do people not understand about the middle that makes it so heavy? I think what people don't understand about the middle is every time you get some success in the middle, sometimes you quit doing a lot of the things that get you there. You think that you can skip a few steps. You probably take a little more. You probably take a few more days off than you normally take. You know what I'm saying? You probably, sleep a little longer than you normally sleep. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? And we still got to alleviate those things. Though we're making progression, we still have to alleviate the small things that will affect us in the long run. Um, Also, like The middle of the journey can get comfortable. It can feel good, like Holly Berry. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Just because it feel good and just because it's enjoyable doesn't mean you need to stay there. Yeah, that's a piece of the future that you want, but that's not where you should live if you want more, or if you're trying to, or if the plan isn't finished. And sometimes I get stuck in the middle. I got stuck in the middle of the journey plenty of times, especially with some girls in my life. Oh man, she was doing just enough, and though I knew I wasn't ready, or though I knew I would probably cheat on her, I took the chance, knowing right horrible. But again, I got comfortable instead of following the plan and knowing how I would mistreat not only this situation but myself. And I urge everybody else to, when you get to the middle of the journey and now you can actually go buy what you want to go eat, you can do what you want to go do to an extent. Don't stop doing the things that got you there. Always focus on the things that got you there. You know what I mean? If you was going to the gym 5 days a week, nigga, go to the gym for the journey. You know what I mean? And if you wasn't taking breaks, don't take breaks. That's the goal, man. That's the way it needs to be. And I pray that everybody is, taking those steps and doing the right things and trusting yourself in that middle journey, because the middle is going to determine how successful you are or how unsuccessful you'll be. You know, and I feel like God gives us the best ability in the world, and that's the ability to choose. So I hope that you choose yourself in the right way. You know what I mean? For sure. Our next question, right? Well, hold on. 'Cause I feel like I really like this question. What do people not understand about the middle that makes it so heavy? I really want to sit on this, right? Because right now, my middle of my journey is like crazy heavy, but it's like not heavy in a way where I can't handle my business or it's affecting my health. I'm just in a sort of cycle that I'm trying to break, right? And I have other ways to break this cycle, but I also know breaking the cycle in those ways could potentially put me in a harm if it goes wrong. You know what I'm saying? But uh this middle journey shit, y'all, I need y'all to truly understand that like the middle isn't something that should be played with. You know what I'm saying? Listen, and there's no applause during this time. Like there's nobody's calling you, double checking, making sure you're good. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to make sure you tight in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Because now people come to you like, damn, you look different, or you lost weight, or you look the fucking coolest. Like, what have you been doing? You can't tell, man, I've been in there crying. You know what I'm saying? I've cried in the shower. You know what I mean? Getting my heart broken, losing money. You know what I'm saying? Like making bad investments, making mistakes so I can learn from them. They ain't gonna want to hear that shit. All they want to hear is, "Oh, I've been blessed. I've been good." No, okay, cool. You look so different now. I'm proud of you. What are you proud of? What are we proud of? It's the middle. You know what I'm saying? The job's not done, but the middle can make you feel like the job is done. The middle can make you feel like, hey, I'm not, I don't want to leave this spot. I'm okay with being here. I don't want more. Is it wrong to not want more? I mean, I don't know. I say no. I think it's not wrong to want. If you comfortable where you at, you know what I mean? If you making 90, even 50,000 a month, but you comfortable where you at, who am I to tell you that's not good for you and you deserve more? But again, everybody has their level of what they want. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I think the middle of the journey really defines that a lot. So I would say everybody, listen, we got to pay attention to what we get comfortable to and what we are accustomed to, and make sure that's to the person we're trying to grow to be, and not where it makes our middle comfortable enough to stay. If that makes sense. I digress. Right now, we can move on to the next question. Our next question for the day, right, is how did you stay focused when nothing seemed to be changing? Uh, I mean, how did you stay focused? For me, in my life, right, and during this journey, honestly, it's repetition. Um, You know, I didn't like when Will Smith used to say "fail forward," but I think it's important to do, especially when you don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? I'd rather you know not what to do than not know at all. You feel me? Like for sure, for sure. Um, I am in this space in my life where focus right now is the only way, right? And I have to be one track minded on a lot of things that I'm doing, especially with myself and how I speak to the people and, thinking before I speak because, I want this to be able to use 20 years from now. I want somebody to be able to come back to this and be able to be like, oh, I can use this for something. This matters. This has a space. This has a place for them to be able to, hey, let's move it. And when I fall short of glory, what I'm saying, outside of, the good book, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The Bible itself. I want them to be able to come back and listen to this and be like, damn, okay, that's what I can do differently. Um, how I stay focused, God, meditation, and repetition. You know what I'm saying? I'll be lying to you if I said I did everything every day. But no matter how many times I stopped, I started more than I stopped for sure. And that kept me focused. That kept me a believer. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you'll allow I'll give it till tomorrow or I'll do it another day. You'll give that more power than just let's go do it. You know what I'm saying? And if you get enough of those, you know what I'm saying? That's going to help you in the process of what you got to do. That's going to move you to the needle that you need to move it to. And that's what helped me stay focused with what I was doing because I'm like, okay, the moment that I say to myself, I don't want to do something, that is probably the best moment to go do it. And that's exactly what I did. I took my time, I understand the process, and I made sure shit was tight. You know, those are some of the things that kept me focused. You know what I'm saying? And I'm proud to say that I made it to this point where I can have this conversation with you guys. We can chill and talk. We by ourselves today. You feel me? Hold on, man. Let's get a little applause for the boy. We here. I do know that focus is a really big key with everything in life, guys. But sometimes we fall short of it because we want to reach our goals, but not knowing mind, body, and soul needs to be taken care of while you're reaching these goals. So make sure you're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your mental, you're taking care of your physical while working and going to the things that you want to do because you gotta matter. And you want to be able to celebrate with the success. You don't want to get to success and can't celebrate it because you're unhealthy or, you know, you're stressed out. The job's way more tougher than the actual, results that you're getting. So we gotta be careful of those things, right? I would say for sure. Also, let me know how you stayed focused. You know what I mean? When nothing seemed to be changing, right? Uh, Let me know some of the steps or some of the things that you were going through that you felt wasn't changing, that you felt wasn't going right. Because I do know for me, like, you know, that rabbit race is a real thing, and like sometimes that rabbit race can become comfortable to where you don't even look at it as a bad thing anymore because you're just used to it. You're used to going through this cycle, but we gotta break cycles. You feel me? The game is real. It's your boy. Listen, this is some good food. We gotta give it to them all. Uh, our next question, right, for the day is: was there a point where you wanted to restart everything instead of continuing? Nigga, hell yeah. Every time. Listen, I want to start over so many times, feel me? You know what I'm saying? But we only get one life. You know what I'm saying? We on borrowed time and we die alone. And we ain't taking none of this shit with us. You know what I'm saying? So um starting over was an everyday thing for me. But then at the same time, continuing I had to keep going through a lot of this stuff, man. I had to really keep my mind tight. I had to really find the fun in life and, enjoy what God has given me, and not the things that I don't have and not the things that other people have. Like living in the present really shaped me and helped me during this process. And I urge everybody else to find ways to live in the present. Um, we all gonna want to restart something. We all gonna want to start over, once things don't go the way it's supposed to go, right? Or you dealing with some pain and you just want to go somewhere where you don't have to deal with the pain. But listen, you'd be a lot better person if you went through it than running. And my mom, she didn't make runners. She didn't make runners. I remember one time I got this we was young. I probably was like young, like baby. Nah, baby. I probably 6, 7, somewhere around there. Some nigga slapped me. Ah, in the face. No, I think he punched me, right? So I ran in the house, crying and screaming. You know what I'm saying? And mom's was like, "What happened?" I said, "This boy punched me," and I'm crying, right? Thinking I'm gonna get this. I don't know what the fuck I was gonna get, but in the midst of that, she slapped me. Mouth. Slapped the hell out of me, boy. Oh my lord. And I look up and she said, "You don't be no punk." You know what I'm saying? You go outside and you go out there and you fight. And if you lose, you don't get a whooping. Right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, this changes things. And for some reason, that whooping was way more important than losing. Way more important than losing. And that was the start of my warrior journey. You know what I mean? Of the first introduction to the results of quitting. You know what I'm saying? The reward for quitting. And I just didn't I never wanted that again. You know what I'm saying? That changed my perspective and we grew up fighting our whole life. You know what I mean? Now we're all civilians and humans and loving each other. And honestly, most of my best friends, people I would talk to till this day, from that time, we fought first. Been friends forever. But these niggas that I'm just saying what's up to and being cool with, they done did some fuck shit before the niggas that fought me did. But that's a whole nother conversation, right? Um, the world ain't the same. It just ain't the same, y'all. You know what I mean? I miss the way kids used to be. I miss my kid days. I ain't gonna lie. I wish I could go back. We'll probably have some nostalgic moments in the future, but there's some moments, you know what I'm saying? Of course, it may date me because, I come back from like playing football outside, running track, you know what I'm saying, marbles, you know what I'm saying, dance routines. Everybody got fucking birthdays every day. Every weekend somebody got a birthday. You know what I mean? Everybody in the apartments, everybody got kids. We eat every weekend, cake and ice cream. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't know we was in the hood. At least I didn't know. You feel me? But it is what it is. And those are my but the point that I wanted to restart was 2020 was 2020. I was like, man, I wish I could tell the story of like I was an essential worker. So when COVID hit, everybody was in the house, but I still was outside, and just the world that I seen during that time, man, depressing, scary a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We still got to go outside where everybody in the house getting sick, catching COVID. Meanwhile, we outside. They talking about these boxes got COVID on them. Niggas in there spraying the boxes. It was a crazy time. But, you know, being in that time, I was just like, imagine seeing nobody on the streets, nobody going to the stores. It looked like a ghost town. It was crazy in 2020, boy. And being an essential worker, like I had to go back out and see this shit. I was like, damn, this gonna change the game. This gonna change the game. But My mom used to always tell me, if you don't do it, who will, right? And that is something that has stopped me from always trying to restart something and just seeing it through. Follow through. See it through, my boy. See it through. That's good food right there. That's good food right there. We gotta be smart about that. And I'm grateful of some of the lessons that I got that allowed me to be able to sit here and have this conversation with y'all. But I digress, right? Our next question, right, for the day. Do we romanticize the ending so much that we disrespect the middle? Let me tell you something. Every time that I even told somebody about some shit before while I was in the middle, anytime I told somebody about it, it has never happened. For a fact, I know people glorify the ending before the middle. You know what I'm saying? For sure. Romanticize the ending so much that we disrespect the middle. Listen, a lot of us disrespect the middle. You know what I'm saying? We'd be so glad to get there. We'd be so happy to just be able to do something for ourselves that we get comfortable. We disrespect all the we just get here, knowing there's more to go, but we get comfortable and we disrespect the ground. We disrespect ourselves. Now, some of us are okay with the disrespect and they stay there for 40, 50 years and they're happy. They're okay with not having more, but they're also okay with not having nothing or less, I would say. You know what I'm saying? They right where they at the middle is perfect. And if you're there, I don't think you're disrespecting the middle. But if you want to be more out of life and you know that you got people that's dependent on you and there's things that you care about, there's things that you want to see grow and maximize, I would say you are doing a disservice to yourself and your people for romanticizing the ending that doesn't even exist. It's not even here yet, but you're disrespecting the middle of where you at, and you're not allowing yourself to grow. You know what I'm saying? You're enjoying the middle so much that it's becoming a hindrance. It's becoming gluttony. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming a point where you know you tricked yourself to say, "Hey, this is enough." No, it's not. 'Cause now you cheating. You know what I'm saying? Now you drinking, smoking. You stressed out. These people stressing you out. You mad at the world. You're never happy. Why? You chose this place. You chose the middle. You were okay with being in the middle of things. You know what I'm saying? But my uncle, right? My uncle, shout out Uncle Paul, man. R.I.P. Uncle Paul, man. We love you, family. He used to always say, "You ain't handling your business," right? He didn't want to talk me about business. He didn't want to talk me about shady deals. I'm gonna tell you right now. Like, look, story time, right? Story time with Canadian. So check this out. My uncle was an amazing man, right? Amazing, cool person, very he loved by the city. But he would, one day he had called me to ask to. He owned like properties and shit, so we would go help him with the roofing and shit, and then go throw it out in the trash. All type. We getting hella dirty. So this is mind you, this is an 8 hour job we were doing, 8 maybe 10 hour job. So we driving home, right? And because I'm nephew, so it was a lesson. I'll take the lesson. I learned fast. So we driving home, and he like, "Yo, man, like nephew, I thank you, man. You did a good." He said, "I thank you, but to be honest with you, I don't think you did a good job today." And I'm like, "Yo, wait, hold on, man. I just did 8 hours of taking shit off a roof. It's hot as hell. I use no sunscreen, nigga. We got her cooking. What you mean I didn't do good?" He's like, "Well, I just don't think you worked hard enough. So listen, I'm gonna give you $20 for the day. You know, because I don't feel like you worked hard enough. I may have to need you again." I'm like, what? No, $20. Nah, pal. I worked 8 hours. Anyways, he all gonna be down. I'm gonna let it live. You feel me? But he got me for 8 hours for $20. You know what I'm saying? And what that taught me was business is being a worker. Being a worker is different than just uh working for yourself, right? But the way you get to working for yourself is not disrespecting the middle and following through, right? Um and I am at a space in my life where I'm learning the truth about myself, the truth about the people around me, what I'm looking for. I'm no longer allowing the middle to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like we can really get accustomed to certain things that we probably shouldn't. So I urge you all to never disrespect the middle. You know what I'm saying? And live in the present as much as you can. But in conclusion, right? The middle of the journey is often where we feel the most invisible, but it's always where we become the most intentional. You know what I'm saying? That's where we find ourselves. I'm like, okay, I like this. That's where you find the shit you like in the middle. Not every season will feel clear. Not every day will feel inspired, but some days will feel like progress, and some days will feel like you are just trying not to text your old habits back, and that's okay. But listen, sometimes I'll give y'all a call. Hey, habits, I'm on the way. Work with me. Listen, the middle is not wasted time. It is becoming time. It is becoming time. Anyways, the middle is not wasted time. And even when it feels messy, slow, or uncertain, it is still part of the story. And as always, y'all, I'm grateful for the people that I have. I'm grateful for the people that fuck with me. We in good spaces, man. And I want to thank you guys for entertaining this and entertaining the conversation today. But before we go, we got to get the quote of the day and the word of the day, right? So the quote of the day is by Dan Miller, and it is: no individual can achieve worthy goals without accepting accountability for his or her own actions. Shout out Dan Miller, whoever that is. Our word for the day, right? Our word for the day, something that I feel like will go um with the middle of the journey, right? Our goal for the day would be hmm, chauffeur, right? Because in the middle of the journey, you could be chauffeured, right? You could be in the back seat getting comfortable, or you could be the chauffeur itself, making others comfortable, getting to that bag. You know what I'm saying? Getting to that grind. No, I'm joking. But I would like to use chauffeur for the day because, you know, don't have a back seat to success. You know what I mean? Don't have a back seat to don't get comfortable with the chauffeur. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have, but don't get comfortable with allowing people to direct you and your journey and what you're trying to do, all because you want to stay comfortable and you want to stay in a place that's familiar. And growth is motion, right? And any growth has to come with some uncomfortability. So if you're not ready to deal with uncomfortability, then change is not on your trajectory. You know what I'm saying? But in all, I'm really grateful for you guys chilling with me, man, again, and vibing with me on this process of journeying out a destination. Good night to all. I wish blessings to everybody. You know what it is. You know what I'm saying? To be continued. You know the squad gonna be back, but we had to handle this one today by ourselves, man. I love y'all. Y'all be safe, man. Let's do it. Peace and love.
Don't worry about me. I'm just turning over my leaf, and my last one is complete. You can stay. Don't worry about me. I'm just turning over my leaf. Heat my deposit, I leave. It's complete. You can stay, cause I'm turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaf. Turning over my leaf. I'm just turning over my leaves. I'm on.